All right, and I think we're almost there. Ooh, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. I can't hear you now. Can you? Okay. All right. Try now. I still can't hear you. So I don't know what's going on. Oh, I heard something.
Okay.
There we go.
Try
Oh,
new
like we've
and
always said, we're professionals.
try new things, and it doesn't like. Okay.
Exactly. Alrighty then. Hello everyone and welcome to the Snodacast. I am your host, Black Chef 56, and I'm of course joined by the one, the only DJ Lionheart, aka Leon.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Alright, and apparently that's going to be the only people that are showing up today. It is going to be a duo show. Hopefully we can get this ready to go. Without little to no technical difficulties. So here's to hoping, right?
Sure.
Alrighty then. So,
Nice.
like I said, there can never be any episode without the age-old question of how's everybody's weeks. This is weekly updates, everybody, and this is going to be a short one. All right, Leon, how was your week, buddy?
Slow going, still on that job hunt, but summer's
Well,
coming
yeah.
up. So you know what that means for me. Hopefully, getting a lot of gigs for DJing and whatnot, and
Exactly.
trying to get all that going. I've been posting constantly on Facebook, on
Yeah.
all over my areas. Like, hey, message me for bookings and quote for how much it's going to be for your weddings, your barbecues, your birthdays, graduations coming up as well. So
Mm-hmm. Hey, should be a lot of vibes going on, man.
I hope so. I definitely
Yeah.
hope so.
All right. Well, as for me, I technically got demoted this week, so that was fun. I'm no longer a truck lead for a landscaping company. I am now apparently groundskeeper for Trinity River. I work under a new company, but I'm still under Upspire, which was the company that I was working for, or well, I was and still am working for. But they're basically contracting me out, and hopefully I can get hired on by this new company. But I don't plan on staying there that long, just because it's just one of those things that's like I'd much rather get a job that I actually that I have a certificate of completion in,
Right.
and that's where I just kind of draw my line. But as for that, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy twice, give
Oh,
or
you
take.
saw it, right?
Yeah, I saw it once by myself and once with my girlfriend. So that was fun. There's that. And no, I'm actually kidding. I saw it the once, but no, it was a lot of fun. I went as Star Lord. I went dressed as Star Lord. I actually got a few photos, so that was nice.
So
But yeah, absolutely. So always, always, always fun. All right. Well, unfortunately, there is no now showing this week. Believe it or not, shocker. We usually have something along those lines. Like the closest I could think of would be the new Zelda game, but I don't have a Switch anymore, so I can't really talk about it. Leon, you?
I don't own the game. I own the Switch, but I don't own the game right now because in between jobs. But
Right.
I have been watching a couple YouTubers play it, and it looks fun.
It looks a lot of fun.
Apparently, from what I've been hearing, there's some lag issues in the combat, but it might just be certain copies because the couple YouTubers I've watched
Mhm.
never seem to have that issue.
Right.
So I don't know, but it looks amazing, and I can't wait to get the money to.
Well, I mean, once I get a Switch OLED, that's my plan. Is I will go ahead and do that. But
Right.
yeah. So I guess the best thing that we can do is go right into our first topic of the night. So our first topic for the night is we finally have our plot details and title, or at least working title, for the new Final Destination movie that is coming out. I believe Spyglass Entertainment is making this one, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I just know that they're trying to reboot this franchise. So our title is Bloodlines, and apparently what we're saying, or what we're seeing and hearing, is we actually have, um, if I'm not mistaken, we have a group of grandparents that were supposed to die in a fire, but they end up surviving. And what ends up happening is we just basically see them go. Like now we're seeing this whole family pretty much getting obliterated in very creative ways. So they got to figure out a way to stop it.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I think it's a, like I was hoping that like the opening kills would be pretty cool, like the opening kill sequence. But now there's just going to be a generic house fire. That's fine. You can still do something creative with that. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see how they're going to kill particular people that should have technically never been born. So that's interesting for sure.
Mhm. Uh, Now, don't get me wrong. I like the Final Destination movies. I have all of them in a nice little box set, or not box set, but DVD casing. But like, kind of over the show. To be honest, I'm kind of over it. Like, there's only so many creative ways to kill.
Well, there is, and that's fine. And here's the thing: you can start kind of doing. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! A lot of reverb there. Yeah, it goes in and out, but it's there. Once again, people, we are professionals. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Is like, it's you can start merging a lot of kills. Like, don't get me wrong, the biggest thing that you got to do is you got to go over the top with these kills.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I understand the making it realistic and everything else like that. Like the first one did a pretty good job in keeping it real. The second one, I would argue, went a little over the top, and then by the third one on, it just kept going, kept fucking skyrocketing. Like I would argue, the last good creative thing that they did was the plot twist in Final Destination 5, which is a very interesting one, and I love the bridge sequence in that. That's done really, really, really well. So I'm curious to see what they would do with these kills and everything else like that. And I get it, yeah. There's only so many things that you can do. I don't think we've seen anybody get killed by a wood chipper just yet. So that'd be fun to see what they could do with that. Maybe have it like grind halfway, and they just bleed out. That'd be kind of fun, actually. Honest to God, be
That would
interesting to see that.
that would be interesting.
Yeah, I know we've already seen somebody basically get their guts sucked out by a vacuum in a pool. We've seen somebody had their heads crushed by two weight plates that just. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that
Uh,
on more than one occasion. And
yeah,
uh, what I like is, I believe it was Final Destination 5 where it looped into the first one at the end.
yeah, that was an interesting plot
That
twist.
was,
I love that plot twist. It's
yeah,
one of my favorites.
which is why I never really thought of another movie coming back into
Well,
it. So I never thought of
yeah.
a sixth
So
film.
the biggest thing is like, okay, so this is a whole family bloodline that we're going through. Like you have grandparents, parents, and grandkids. And I'm curious to see where they go with that. Would they go really dark and have like little great grandkids, like have
Uh,
babies and stuff? Would they go that far? That's going to be interesting to see,
I
because with babies, a lot of shit happens. There's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do with that. It's heartbreaking to think about that,
yeah, I
but
don't know if they want to go that far, but like,
I think, in all honesty, if you're gonna step up the tempo, you're gonna have to get to a point where you're gonna kill either some kids or you're gonna kill some babies. At the very least, kids. Like I'm thinking, like bratty little cousins or something. That is
or
interesting.
maybe one of the grandkids is pregnant and they have a miscarriage. I could see maybe that.
That, yeah, I could see that.
That
And
was
then like
not
because of their miscarriage, they go through something else that kills them. That could be. I could see
that
that
would
happening.
be. I would say that'd be a little more common if they do miscarriage. Like,
That's
yes, it's
true.
heartbreaking, but it's not like, oh, like, do a couple like deaths that like, okay, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. I would argue, something along the lines of like Scream 6 recently, they had a ladder sequence where a character was pretty much almost eviscerated, like stabbed in the gut multiple times. They're so exhausted and they're trying to climb this ladder across a two windows, and Ghostface is shaking the fucking ladder so much that it tilts and they fall face first into a garbage can and then fall onto the concrete. Yeah, it's brutal. And it's like, damn, I really feel bad for that character. That is a harsh death. And it's one of those things that's like, okay, that's that's new. I love that opening sequence alone for Scream 6 gave me a lot of hope in what you can do with these openings now, because like let's be perfectly honest, Scream 5, its opening pretty normal, except for the fact that the person does live. So there's that, and like, yeah, it's a great hark back. But like this last one did such a good job, in my opinion, on how it opened. You have uh the first ghost face is revealed, and then they go through a ghost face phase. They're the first kill, and it's so mind-boggling. It's like, holy shit, we could have done all this with this character. And it's like, no, like, don't get me wrong, I think it would have been far more interesting to know who Ghostface is and see how they interact with everybody. That would have been interesting. But no, they went with the generic plot twist that they, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's fine, but it's still a great movie. Like, I highly recommend, if you're a Scream fan, go see Scream 6. Final Destination fans, I think you guys are going to like this. I don't know just yet. But Final Destination 6, I believe, is set to start filming this year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe like the end of the summer. So
Probably.
we'll see where we go from there.
That's more than likely when they do their
Yeah.
new movies for next year. When they
Right.
Because it only takes like, I think, like 200 days to film a movie.
It depends on how much CGI you're using, but I do know that with something like Final Destination, it depends on how much practical effects they're going for or how much CGI. Practical effects is going to add more time and it's going to add more money onto the budget, but CGI is also going to take less. It's going to take more time in post production, but add less to the budget.
Yeah. So
we don't know. And with the writer strike going on, I know a lot of movies are going under delay right now.
That's definitely going to delay a lot of them.
I already know that Scream 7 is delayed because of the writer strike.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
There's that.
I guarantee Vox Machina season 3 is going to be on hold for a bit.
I mean, granted, Vox Machina season 2 was on hold for almost 2 years, so there's that too. But yeah, so going from the Angel of Death to Angels and Demons, we actually have our first official poster for Good Omens season 2, and I can't wait. Here's the thing: I usually don't like the quirky kind of comedy kind of shit, but I loved Good Omens. I adore Wes Anderson. I really do. I don't adore everything he does, but I do adore his style, and that's not a style that's very easy to recreate over and over and over. Whereas I feel like Good Omens did a good enough job keeping it light and quirky, but not afraid to go dark as shit. Like, I mean, there are some deaths in that show that do not hold back, if I'm not mistaken. I had to rewatch season 1, but like, that show really surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did surprise me with how they did things.
Pieces of the show. It looks great. It looks funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Got that like old school slapstick humor.
It doesn't really have slapstick as much as it's very like Abbott and Costello kind of back and forth kind of dialogue. It's very quick, snappy back and forth.
I don't
That's
remember
really what it is.
Like a couple of us over like more like slapstick comedy with
there is some slapstick comedy in there, but it's not overt. Like, it's very quirky humor. Like one of the first lines is, "What if I told you the Earth was made on, I forget what month it is. So yes, in fact, the Earth is an Aquarius." I was like, all right, you won me over. That's funny.
Right.
Like that's genuinely kind of funny.
Comedy is comedy, and
I was like, all right, you got a snicker out of me. What else you got? And then, of course, the chemistry between David Tennant and Michael Sheen is hands down one of the best things about the show. They're playing an angel and a demon, or a demon and an angel, respectively, and they're done so well. Like, there's a point where Michael Sheen's character says, "You're no fun." It's like, fun? It's exhausting. I'm like, okay, that's a good line. Like, that's a really good line.
But yeah, it's hard to find that demographic nowadays, like dudes
It
work
is. And
so
what's crazy is it's based off of a comic series. It's
well.
a Neil Gaiman series. So I'm heavily fascinated by it because I'm like, that's not usually Neil Gaiman's kind of area of expertise, but I'm happy about it. You know, it's it I'm excited for season 2. I think the problem with Amazon shows, unless you're the boys, you have a hard time getting, in between seasons. Like the boys had a really good job with seasons 1 and 2. Like those came out almost back to back. Like season 2 I believe came out like maybe a year and a half later, and the amount of CGI in that show is crazy. So I'm like, I'm happy that they did it as good as they did. Whereas the time span between seasons 2 and 3, if I'm not mistaken, were like, I think it was like almost 3-4 years.
I think that's the biggest issue in general when it comes to streaming
Streaming shows. Yeah, but I mean
shows.
a lot of these were delayed. Like I know Good Omens came out right at the beginning of the pandemic, so
Yeah,
it would have been done filming right around 2019, maybe early 2020. So I think that that's part of the reason why this was halted as much, and it didn't get that much viewership. I know it was one of like their biggest hits of that time, but then The Boys came out and it almost immediately took it over. Or I believe The Boys season 2 came out and it immediately won everybody over or whatever. But it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, that's pretty damn cool. I actually really enjoy that. Can I
yeah.
help you, sir?
It's just I think streaming original shows in general on Netflix,
Right.
HBO Max, Hulu, all that kind of stuff, they take a long time to.
I would argue HBO does a really good job because it's still under Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers really works their shit. Like I will argue they like you need time with your visual effects, great. That's fine, take your time. But when it comes down like I still think House of the Dragon looks loads better when it comes to CGI compared to other shows that have an abundance of CGI that were supposed to have a bigger budget. Like I would argue Lord of the Rings Rings of Power looked pretty. It had a lot of money pumped into it, but the CGI was kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. Whereas, House of the Dragon, CGI was pretty much on point. There was only a handful of moments I'm like, it's a little cheesy. But, I was like, it's fine. TV, whatever.
Yeah, those mistakes are always.
Exactly. It's going to happen.
It's not going to
Um,
be perfect. I don't think there's going to
no.
be a perfect way to like do that, unless you
I
have
mean,
like.
look at Firefly. Firefly had some shoddy CGI. Oh,
Oh,
hello again.
hello again.
Hello,
Hello.
new fellows. Haha.
Wait, I'm not hearing the reverb on my end.
I'm hearing it on my end.
Interesting, but yeah, that's it's gonna be fun. If the first season got great comedy, great.
It has some good quirky humor. If you're not a fan of quirky humor, you're probably not gonna like it. But it's like quirky dark humor. So like there's a whole doctrine of nuns who are devoted to Satan and accidentally mix up the Antichrist, who is supposed to go to like this American politician, with this like nice as hell British family.
Oh shit!
And one of the nuns, it's hilarious. She goes, she said, he has adorable little toesy woesies. I was like, oh, that's sweet. That's cute. I like that. That's cute. And like it's hilarious because the Antichrist goes to the wrong family. That's the whole joke of the show is they're focusing on the wrong kid and he's a fucking moron. That's like the whole joke, and then they're like desperately trying to find the actual Antichrist. And it's done so well. I would say there is a little bit of a pacing issue when it comes towards the end because they have to merge like three storylines. They have to merge them all together, and it mostly works. There's one storyline that's I would argue is the C plot, and it kinda teeters the whole show. It doesn't grind it to a halt necessarily, but it does kind of like, all right, let's get back to the demons, please. Come on. All right. All right. We apparently have Brian Cranston's Walter White in the house now. Being apparently he has taken over our good buddy Voyager's account. So, anyways, so Good Omens season 2 is coming out, I believe, July 28th of this year on Amazon Prime. Be sure to check it out if you are interested. And of course, right now you can watch the first season. We are not sponsored. I just try to keep everybody informed. All right, so going
We,
from angels and demons to our wonderful angel demon hybrid, Willem Dafoe has been casted in the new Beetlejuice 2, where apparently he is going to be playing some kind of ghost cop. Interesting.
that's an interesting choice.
It is. And of course, Jenna Ortega is confirmed to be playing the daughter of Winona Ryder's character, who is also returning in this with Michael Keaton. And honestly,
I looked at
fucking
the
A.
IMDb. Apparently, Beetlejuice is married. Yeah, if you look on their IMDb, is there? I don't remember the actress's name because I'm terrible with names, but the character's name is Beetlejuice White.
It's got to be a sham. It's got to be like a scam somehow, because that's the whole point of Beetlejuice. He's a scammer. Like, that's the whole point. Now, I will say this. I don't believe there's a huge fan base of people younger, like our age and younger, that unless you're like a huge Tim Burton fan or a huge cinephile or hell, even a huge Michael Keaton fan, I don't think there's a lot of people like that are our age and younger, or at least my age and younger, that know what Beetlejuice is, or at the very least have like a fondness for it. I love the hell out of Beetlejuice, but it was not one of those movies I watched as a kid because I was like, oh, it looks scary. But now I watched it in middle school, fell in love with it. It wasn't my favorite of all time, but I've rewatched it recently. It's so fucking charming. I love that movie. It really is a good movie. It's one of those I gotta add it to my collection, and I've just yet to find the time or the money to get it.
I was kind of on that same boat where, like, I never really watched the movie when I was younger, but I watched the animated series.
The animated series, yeah, that was
I loved it. It was
interesting.
hilarious.
Yeah, the animated series. Well, I mean, granted, it's like the Mask animated series. It's one of those things. It's like, oh, okay, it's fun, it's creative. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, you did a good job.
Right.
So,
If we
I do remember the animated.
like, there's a lot of hidden humor for more
Yeah,
adult humor, but then again, 90s, early 2000s, a lot of shows had that.
yeah. I mean,
Biggest
uh,
example, Ren and Stimpy. Why was I allowed to watch that?
Ren and Snippy actually went from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim, and they became way more raunchy.
Oh god.
Yeah, like it was like a midpoint in the '90s where Ren and Stimpy went to Adult Swim, and they became a good.
Well, I remember it being on Nickelodeon for the longest time, not Cartoon Network. That's where I remember it. Yeah. Another one would be like Animaniacs that had some raunchy jokes in it, but again, there was that kind of era.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm interested to see where they go with this story. It's obviously it's going to be more like a requel for sure, and we'll just go from there. And honestly, to correct my original statement, yes, I did go see Guardians twice, and yes, both times I dressed up as Star Lord.
mhm.
I just kept the joke going. That's my bad. um, all right, so going from bad jokes to ones that apparently are still going. Fast X. We have some news. So when it comes to Fast X, apparently at first we were going to be told this is going to be the final movie, and then from there we were told that it is going to be one of two parts, and now we are being told it is going to be one of three parts for this franchise.
Why?
I I don't know.
Like, don't get me
I
wrong. Fast and the Furious movies are really good. I enjoyed them, even though I've only seen a few of them. I enjoyed them for what they are, but now you're
Yeah.
telling us this finale is going to be a 3-part thing.
I guess. I don't know. And apparently, I mean, I just saw something where apparently the reportedly the budget was ballooning out of control for this movie. So, I mean, I genuinely don't know what's going on that one. But uh it's whatever.
Is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Fast and Furious. What was it, 9? Broke me because I saw it in theaters because I'm like, it's something I gotta go. It's just like it's something I can go see. And I was with a buddy at the time, and he didn't want to see Quiet Place 2 because Quiet Place 2 he hadn't seen Quiet Place 1, and he's like, I feel like I'll be lost. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna be, but okay. He's like, well, we can watch Fast 9. I'm like, fine, we'll go from there.
I feel like you'd be more lost watching Fast 9 than Quiet Place
2. It actually broke my brain. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. I think I only saw like the first 4 and then kind of was over it.
Fast 5 was really good. I would argue I didn't really. Did I watch Fast 6? I don't remember if I watched Fast 6. No, because Fast 6 was a prequel. No. I did watch Fast 6. Fast 6 is what had Jason Statham. So I did watch that one. And I think that was reportedly... I think that was supposed to be the last one that Paul Walker was in, or was it Fast 7? Because I think I watched Fast 6 because it was out, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. I don't know. I don't remember. A lot of these start to blur together after a while.
Yeah, especially when a movie series goes on for that.
Yeah, I did watch Fast 7 in theaters, though. I remember that because that was supposed to be Paul Walker's last one, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's halfway decent. I liked it. And then I didn't see Fast 8. Still have yet to watch Fast 8. So I watched Fast 9. I'm like, I'm not missing much. I know they're spies now. Cool, whatever.
I heard apparently Dwayne Johnson's coming back for this one as well.
We'll get into that. Actually, yeah, we're gonna go ahead. So, thanks for spoiling the next topic, you asshole. So apparently, going from Fast X news to more Fast X news, The Rock is apparently going to be coming back for Fast and Furious X, or Fast X as it is being called, and I think it's just going to be like a cameo at the mid credits or whatever. And then I think from there he's going to be a part of the rest of the franchise until it ends. I don't know how the fuck they managed to pull that out of their ass. I really don't. That genuinely surprises me. But, I guess cool. I know everybody's wanting The Rock to come back, especially Vin Diesel. But, the reason why he hasn't come back for a while is because he reportedly hated working with Vin Diesel. Because he said Vin Diesel is almost like a controlling, manipulative kind of guy. And I don't know. I think at this point The Rock's desperate to kind of get his popularity back, because now a lot of people are basically blaming him for the downfall of the DC, which no. Warner Brothers did that. Let's be perfectly honest with ourselves. Warner Brothers did that. But he kind of was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So I don't,
writers with Warner Brother and everything have their own issues, but apparently Black Adam was supposed to be in the second Shazam because
he said no.
One of his villains
professionals, everybody.
always. Black Adam's one of Shazam's villains, and apparently in Dwayne Johnson's contract, like, he's not allowed.
Yeah, he's a bunch of policy.
Shit.
Yeah. There we go.
So I don't know what that's all about, but
apparently Vin Diesel had it in his contract to where he's only allowed to lose, I think, one fight, and even then he's not allowed to be beaten. Like, he's not allowed to be beaten down to the ground, kind of thing. So, like, that's why in Vin Diesel movies he's not allowed to technically be beaten. He either has to give up, or like give up for like a different plan or whatever. It's a whole lose like a win lose contract or whatever, and apparently Dwayne Johnson has that. Because it kind of ruins your image as like, oh, you're supposed to be the ultimate badass. Why the fuck are you getting your ass kicked, kind of thing? And I'm like, okay, yeah, but even Chuck Norris had some fucking humility in what was it, House of the Dragon? Not House of the Dragon. Enter the Dragon. He got his ass beat by Bruce Lee. Come on.
It's one thing, like, if that was part of a wrestling company, but this is the movies. It's going to be a little different. It has to be different.
Yeah, like especially if you're gonna play a villain, like
Yeah, you're going to
I
play a
don't know.
character, expect to lose to the hero.
Exactly. All right. Well, short stream, everybody. I apologize. I thought we would have kept this going longer, but very short news week. There's not a lot going on. So I have been your host, Black Chef 56. I have been joined by DJ Lionheart, aka Leon.
Stay nerdy.
And this has been the Snodacast episode 10, which I have apparently been calling it episode 9 the entire time because, once again, we are professionals. And like I said, I have been your host, Black Chef 56. This has been the Snodacast.